Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. This year I will be doing a farmhouse themed Christmas. All the supplies that I will be using will serve as a basis to show you how I put items together for my projects. I hope that they will serve as an inspiration to give you ideas on how you can put things together for your holiday decorating. And I hope that you will enjoy this whole series. And as always, to all of you, Merry Christmas. Alright, well, as you can tell by the title of my video, I am going to be doing a Santa hat and I am going to be using a tomato cage. Now, last week on Tuesday, I did a Scarecrow hat using the same tomato cage and the wreath form that I'm going to be using for my Santa hat. And well, I asked all of you if you'd like to see a Santa hat, and a majority of you said yes, we want to see a Santa hat. Some of you also even said an elf hat. Well, I'm going to be doing a Santa hat, and I'm going to be using a bunch of items that I have set out in front of me. I'm going to go ahead and show you real quick what these supplies are. I may not use them all. I may use them all. I want to do a lighted hat this time, so I do have an option of lights, and I'm going to see what works, and then you can decide for yourselves what you would want to use. Now, I'm going to be using farmhouse colors, which means I'm going to be using like creams and some whites and some browns. I'm going to be using a lot of burlaps and some woods and such items as those for my Christmas decorating. So some of that is going to be going into my hat. Now, of course, if you want to do a different color, choose different ribbons, choose different colored little ornaments or whatever you want to put on your items. I am going to be using a tiny touch of red because I love berries and I feel like I have to have a little bit of red in my Christmas. And of course I'll have the green with my pines, but that's basically going to be it. So let me tell you what the supplies are going to be. Alright, so I've got the basic items that I need. A tomato cage, and this one here is, let me see. This one happens to be a 42-inch cage. If you find a smaller one, that'll actually be a little bit better for this particular hat. Maybe you won't have to cut it down like I am going to have to do. But this is what I have, a tomato cage. Now, someone asked, did I get this during the summer? No, I got this now during this time of the year. I went to my home store. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, At Home, whichever one of those stores has garden items. And you can find yourself a tomato cage. If you don't find a tomato cage, you might try looking at Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and if they have these styrofoam cones, you can use those as well. Okay, but you're going to need a really big one. Okay, so this is the 14-inch wreath form. If you don't find one of these, you can use a styrofoam wreath, maybe one that fits the styrofoam cone that you find. Okay, so those are just items that you can substitute if you do not find the items that I happen to have here. This is from the Dollar Tree, okay? Now, some of my items are from the Dollar Tree and some of them are from Hobby Lobby. Okay, Hobby Lobby, I went to go grab some garland. They don't have anything like this at the Dollar Tree. I was at the Dollar General again, and I found some really nice ribbon. This is kind of a creamy colored ribbon. And then I got this one with some red snowflakes. I thought it was really pretty. I may not use that. I may save it for another project. Okay, now from Hobby Lobby, let's see, did I grab this from Hobby Lobby? No, I actually got this one at Michael's craft store because I did go there and I grabbed this. I did go to Dollar Tree today, this morning actually, and I found this kind of burlap ribbon, and it says Merry Christmas, ho ho ho. It's really pretty with a green and red, and of course the burlap brown that I'm going to be using. They also had this ribbon with polka dots, little red polka dots. Now again from Hobby Lobby, I got this basic mesh or deco mesh ribbon, and this has some jute in it. It's really nice. This is a wire edge ribbon. The other ribbons that I showed you are all wire edge except this one, and this one from the Dollar Tree is not a wire edge, but it is still very nice. The other one is. This is a kind of a creamy, it looks kind of like a bark from a birch tree, so I really liked it, and I like the little edge, how it has a little fuzzy. I'll be opening this one up because I'm definitely going to be using it. Also from Hobby Lobby, I got this fur trim ribbon. I love it. I'm going to be using this as well on my hat. Okay, from the regular, no, this is from the Christmas again. This is from the Christmas. I got this deco mesh in white, and I got this other mesh ribbon in kind of a cream color with some gold touches to it. And let's see, from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to be using some jute. I also have some jute that I grabbed some time ago from Hobby Lobby. I'm not sure which is going to work better for me, whether this thick one or this thin one. It doesn't really matter. I could also use floral wire if I don't have jute. So one or the other, whatever you happen to find. We're going to need some of that because when I did my Scarecrow hat, when I was wrapping the ribbon around the three wire pieces that were going upward, some of the fabric would go in where there was no wire. So I'm going to put some wire between that, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, I'm going to put some jute between that, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about when we get to that. From the Dollar Tree, I also got this one ornament ball. I have an idea of what I want to do with it, actually using this little fur. So we're going to see if that works, okay? That was only $1, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, here we go. I've got some florals here that I've gotten collected here and there. So let's put that out of the way. I do have some supplies. I have chenille stems or pipe cleaners, whatever you want to call them. You can use floral wire instead of that if you don't have that, if you don't find that. I've got my tools, my wire cutters. I've got scissors. I've got my hot glue gun already plugged in and some hot glue sticks ready to go. That is just my basic stuff that I use. So let's get to putting this, I wanted to say bird cage. Let's get into putting this tomato cage together to form a Santa hat. All right, before we get to crafting, I forgot to mention a few items here that I also have. I mentioned that I wanted to try and put lights on my hat, but I don't know exactly what will work. I have a string of 20 mini Christmas lights here, and I have a string of 100, but I also happen to have these other little lights that are LCD and they're battery operated. So I'm going to try and see what looks best, or maybe a combination of everything. I'd like to put my lights inside of my hat, so I don't know if it'll show through the fabric that I'm going to use on the outside. So we're going to test that out. I also grabbed this little package of snowflakes. There's a 6 count of white snowflakes from the Dollar Tree. I have that also that I'm going to put on my hat. So those are my items. Okay, let's get to cutting this tomato cage. Now I've already tried this out and I've already decided where I need to trim it at to fit into my wreath, because I want this wreath to fit onto it so I can tie it on. So this is the point where I found that it fits on this 42-inch tomato cage. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove this because I already know that it fits right here. So I know that I have to trim my wire at these 3 points. I have to cut it. So I'm just going to grab my heavy-duty wire cutters and use a lot of strength. There we go. There goes one. I actually have some huge wire cutters that I can use for this, but these are working just fine. You don't want to see my faces that I do. Okay, so there we go. That's what I've done. I've removed this part from this part, and this is what we need. This one right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one away. I'm just going to fold down these pointy bits. Let's go ahead and attach this to the cage, and you can use floral wire. I'm going to be using some chenille stems to do that. So I'm just going to take a 12-inch chenille stem, cut it into 3 or 4 bits, whatever you feel you need. I think 3 bits is going to be just fine, and I'm going to wire it down. There we go, like that. And just wrap it around so you don't have these little edges of the chenille stem scratching on your table, or depending on where you decide to display your hat. Now this turns out to be a pretty big decorative item, so you need to know where you're going to put this, okay, before you decide to make it, and then you're like, oh my god, this is so huge, I don't know where in the world I'm going to put it. Okay, so now I'm going to take these 3 parts up here, and I'm going to take another chenille stem, and I'm going to wrap them up together, and I'm lying them on the table so that you can see what I'm doing, but you can have them standing up as you do it, and then just wrap around nice and twist. And I'm just going to bring this chenille between them all and tie them again. I'm going to bring it again through between another point, tie them all up again, or twist it all up again until my ends are twisted nice. And it's going to make like a little bundle up at the top. It doesn't matter. We're going to cover that up anyway. So that's what I did. I just tied it up right there. And let me show you up close. what I've done there. Just tied it up right there and at the other point there. Okay, you see against the white there? There we go. Okay, so it's just tied there and then up at the top. That's basically what I wanted to do. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to put some jute or wire, and I've got these 3 wires on here, but when I wrapped the ribbon the last time, as I was getting down further, my ribbon was going inward because I was wrapping it so tight it would go inward. Now you can allow it to do that, but just do it kind of loosely as you're getting down to the bottom. And if you're not going to put any lights inside because maybe the fabric that you used on the outside is not see-through enough and you're not going to see the lights, then what I suggest is filling it up with some batting, you know, some pillow filling or some blanket filling, and just stuffing it inside of there, and that'll push your sides out. You can do that, you can do it that way if you don't have any extra jute or wire to work with. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and take some jute and I'm going to tie it at one of the points here at the bottom, grabbing the wreath and the bottom of the tomato cage ring, and just making a good knot, nice tight knot. I'm going to work my way up to the top, and here where I have these 3 little points here, I'm just going to go between them. Okay, try not to open them or let them escape. Let me go ahead and fix that because it's coming out. Okay, so you're going to put it through there because what you want is you want to add another either wire or rope here so the fabric doesn't go inward. This will keep the fabric out. You know, it'll keep it rounded is what I meant to say. Okay, so this is my little experiment. I think it's going to work. I'm going to bring it back down. Okay, so that's going to get tied up on here. Pulling it over as tight as I can. Try not to move the top here. Okay, make a knot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to get another 2 ropes so that this space here has 3 pieces, and then on here I'm going to make sure that I also have the same. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I have a rope coming up on every one of my points. All right, I've gone ahead and I put on the pieces of string that I felt might be enough to keep my fabric from going in. I also put some pieces tied from this ring down to this ring because these here, as I was adding them, what was happening is I was pulling them tight, and then I was actually pulling this piece of chenille that I used up here at the top downwards, so then I had some really loose pieces and I didn't know what was happening, but then I realized it's because I was pulling that down. So that might be happening to you as well, so just keep an eye on this and then just push the chenille back up as much as you can, and that should help. But just so that I wouldn't have that really happen again, I went ahead and I put little pieces from here to here because this didn't affect the top part, so I just added some pieces there. And even still, some of these feel like they're really loose, but at least they're not too loose to the point where my fabric's just going to go all the way in. So I think that'll help. All right, now I'm going to put some garland around the bottom part, and you don't have to do this. You could just do it like I did the Scarecrow. I had lots of mesh at the bottom, but I felt like I wanted to add some pine here at the bottom, so that's why I'm doing it. So all I'm doing is I'm sort of kind of measuring around the diameter of my, or the circumference I should say, of my wreath here, and then I'm just going to cut it at a point I feel was enough. So that all just depends on how big your wreath form is. Now this is a 14-inch, which is basically the one size that they have they have a smaller one. They have a package of 2 smaller ones, but this big one, they only have it by itself. It's a 14-inch, and I cut about 36 inches of garland, in case you're curious. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to puff up or fluff up my garland so that it's not all pressed down as it is. By the way, there is thunder outside. It is raining some, so I don't know what happened with my lights, but so far everything's good. But if you hear some rumbling, that's not my tummy, that is thunder. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to poof up the garland. Okay, so let me move the camera a bit so that you can see how I'm going to be wrapping it. I'm going to be using this particular ribbon. You can use a piece of fabric and you can just cut strips that you can wrap around, or if you want to grab one piece of large fabric, wrap it around to kind of form like a cone shape and then glue it down and then trim off whatever excess you need, then do it that way, okay? But we're gonna do it with this decorative ribbon. And let me move up the camera so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I'm gonna take an end of my ribbon here, and I've already got some hot glue, you know, ready started here. It's all nice and hot, my glue gun. And I'm going to put this up here on the top. I'm gonna put some glue so that I can go ahead and attach it to this tippy top. Just add a little bit of glue. Don't put too much, just put a little bit, and then you can just add more if you need it. So I'm just gonna glue it onto parts of the little ropes here and the wire. And then I'm just gonna bring this around kind of at an angle. A little tight, but not too tight, okay? This is looking like a little teepee. But that's okay. That's the look I want. Well, not necessarily a teepee, but you know. I want this natural look. Now this is kind of wide, so it's not wrapping around as prettily as I'd like it to. Let me grab this back on here. I'm not going to give up, you guys, because I have 2 rolls and I will use them. Okay, now for it not to keep moving on me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue along as I go along, like on this piece of wire right here. Put a little bit of glue, so when you put the wire on there, or the ribbon, it sticks. Now anywhere where the ribbon is not fitting nicely, you can pinch it a little bit because it does have wire. Just pinch it. Pinch it like so. Okay. I'm just going to keep turning it as I keep adding fabric or ribbon, depending on what you chose. I'm going to make a little fold over here so this wraps around at the angle that I want it to. Glue that little fold down. Let me put that close so you can see that. Put a little fold right there, and I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to put more ribbons on here. Actually, I'm going to do that to the little bit that I did up here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and continue wrapping this up and probably speed this up. All right, real quick, before I do go ahead and I attach the lights inside of my cage, they do show up inside of here. If I push them in, you can see that you can see them shining through. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in there. I'm going to bring this part that has the female end of it, and I've already plugged in the male side of the cord. If you're wondering what I mean by that, the male side has the little prongs that you push into the outlet. So that's already plugged in, and my lights obviously do work. The female is the part where you can add another male part into it. That's just how we refer to it. Okay, so please no one get offended by that. Okay, so I'm going to leave a slack of lights because I do want to be able to plug this in somewhere, and then I want enough of it to go around on my garland. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this wire and push it through somewhere up here at the top, and bring it through somewhere between the ribbon that I have up there. So let me find a little spot here where I can kind of bring it through. And I've already kind of glued all these little bits, so I'm just going to unglue a little bit here, make a little hole, bring that through there. Let's get it through there. It's not easy. Probably you might want to put these lights in there before, you know, wire them down. That's when you're doing the twine, before you actually put any ribbon. Okay, I see it. Just gotta grab it. There it is. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to pull that through. And I'm just gonna rest it up here. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little piece of chenille stem so it doesn't move on me. Wrap it around the wire of the prong here, or actually the little outlet end, the female end, and just wrap that there and just hold it in. And then I'm just going to tuck it back on the other side, cover it with some ribbon, and then we can cover up these little lights. Okay, there we go. That's what I did. It doesn't look all that pretty, but that's all going to get covered up at the top, okay? We're not going to worry about it. We're going to cover all that up, make it look really nice, and then I have some little fur and things like that that I want to use. Okay, now the lights, so they can stay in some sort of spot. Go ahead and cut yourself a bunch of little chenille stems. I'm just going to grab a bunch because I know that I'm going to use them anyway. Cut in 3s, and then I'll just cut some other ones in half that I'm going to use for my mesh bundles, but for now I'm going to use these. So make sure you have lots of little chenille stems. They're easy to use, easy to work with, or grab yourself some floral wire. Okay, I'm not going to pay too much attention how I put these lights in there. I just want them in there, and I'm going to make sure I have enough to go around my wreath. So I'm going to go ahead and measure around. I have slack here. I don't have a very long cord. Now, the little bit of cord that it does have to plug in is maybe 12 inches at the most. So I'm probably going to use a little extension cord for this. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug it for now and show you this little bit. I'm going to have it just, let me decide what the back of my, kind of like this for my front. This part right here. So I'm going to take this little bit and just wrap it onto here. Wrap enough of it in there. Okay. Now, before I start doing the rest of this, I'm going to reach in there, and I'm going to take a little chenille stem, and in different spots I'm going to wrap the chenille around the wire and then onto the wires that are on here, or even on the little rope, and then that way the light will stay way up there. Some of them will stay way up there, and the rest of them, as we come down, I'll tie them down. But I want to make sure that I have enough right here at this end to go around when I do my garland. So just keep an eye on that, all right? So I'm going to just reach in there, wrap around some lights and around the metal bit here. You could just stuff them in. I'm going to push some of these upward. I'm trying to like get them to kind of like crunch in together like that inside. Okay, so you're learning as I'm doing this, okay? All right. I tied it up way in there. So now I'm going to take another piece like that and then push it up and then tie it to another piece of wire right here. Okay, let me plug it in so I can see if I did a good job. Pull up the stain. I should really have this thing up here on the desk. There we go. So I have this whole slack of lights to put on the garland part. But you can see that the lights, you can't see them all the way in there. A lot of it mostly here. So that's good. You can see them. That's nice. Okay, I do have another string of lights that I can put on the outside. My little fairy light. So maybe I'll do that just for added effect. But I do like it. So we're going to go ahead and go with that. I'm going to unplug it, put on the garland now, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap. As a matter of fact, I'm going to untie this end of this wire for now. That way I can kind of get it out of the way while I do this garland on here. And of course now I can't untie it because I did such a good job. Okay, there we go. what I'm going to do, instead of having the light coming underneath here and then having lights hitting the table down here, I'm going to bring the string of lights between the rings right here. Bring the string of lights up like that. So let's do that. We don't want to, let's see, make sure this fits through there first. It does, but I have to do a lot of maneuvering. There it is. I kind of had to push down on one of the rings to get this thing through. All right, so now I'm just going to carefully bring it through here. I don't smack too much of my lights, I hope. Oh, that was an ordeal. And this is my front, this is my back. So I'm just going to have this hanging out this way for now. Now I'm going to put my garland, and I might have to trim it, I don't know. I'm going to put my garland around here. So I'm going to take the pine from it, and this wreath has 4 rings that we're going all the way around. I'm going to go up one ring, the second one from the bottom upward, and then just put the little branch of the pine here through it, and then grabbing another branch and then twisting it. Okay, so just find several little spots where you can do that. Just bring it over, make sure it's nice and tight through there. Now, like I said, this is an optional thing to do. You might find like, well, I don't want to put the garland on there. I just want to put deco mesh in there. Now, I'm not using the 3rd ring upward, or rather from the inside, the second one in. I'm not using that one because that's where I'm going to tie all my deco mesh to. I want my garland to be out here on the edge. I'm going to grab it from over here as well. And then when I get to the part where the 2 ends meet, I'm going to tie them together. Just twist the little ends together. Bring these lights over like that. The thunder stopped for now, so that's a good thing. Okie dokie. All right, I'm almost at the end. So I'm going to take the 2 ends. Oops. I'm going to take the 2 ends and twist 2 branches together. This one kind of pulled off. That's where I cut it too close, and then it, obviously that. So I'm going to replace it back on here so I don't have this little ball spot back here. Just tie it around something. Right. To the actual wreath form is what I'm twisting it on, but it's not being nice to me. Okay, now I'm just making sure again that my garland is either shooting straight out or a little bit up, but I also want to make sure that I can see this other wire in here because that's where I'm going to put all my little mesh bundles. So now here's my lights right here, and I'm going to go ahead and place these in and out of the garland here because I don't want to have to do that after I put the mesh, because I don't want to deal with it. I don't want the mesh, you know, all over the place, getting all messed up. So all I'm doing is I'm tangling the lights through the garland, and I'm taking some of the pine and just twisting it so that it keeps the string of lights in place. Just anywhere, really. Okay. Tucking it in between, making sure the wire doesn't really show. Where's where I started? Right here. So I'm almost at the end, but look, I have enough, I think, to go around twice, which I will. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back because I want to put some more ribbon up here, and I want to make my little bundles of mesh so we can put in there and make it look really, really pretty and festive. And I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've finished up putting the lights in here. I had a little bit of slack here. That's okay. This is where I'm actually plugging it in into another cord where it can go into the wall. I can see my lights in there, and I'm actually very satisfied with it. So I've gone ahead and I've also put this ribbon, and I've just just loosely wrapped it around. I haven't even finalized it down here at the bottom. I just wanted to see how that ribbon would look, so you can look at it as well, and you can make a decision if that's what you would like to do, or if you want to take just a plain burlap ribbon and put it around, or whatever color of Christmas ribbon you want to use. Maybe you want to use a different design. I kind of like it. I like the whimsical look of it, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that on there. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down that end. There we go. Okay, so now I want to make all my bundles of the deco mesh, and I'm probably going to do 5 for every section. The wreath had 6 sections, and I'm going to do 5 for now because since I do have the garland, I think it'll be very full. So I'm going to try and see if I can get 30 out of each of these. If not, I'll just get 15 out of each one. And so I'm going to cut 15 of these stems into 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'm going to cut 15 of these for now so that I have 30 because I want to double this and make 30 bundles. But like I said, I don't know if I have enough of that. Okay, let's get that out of the way. This is a 10-inch wide, by the way. I'm going to need my measuring stick. I'm going to need my cutting board, and probably my rotary cutters. If you do not have these items, of course, you can just use your scissors. I need to grab my measuring stick, which I don't know where it is right now. So let me go ahead and do that, and I shall be back. All right, I found my measuring stick because I wanted to show you that if you don't have a cutting mat and you don't have a rotary cutter, you can just use your scissors and use a ruler or measuring template or measuring tape or yardstick, whatever you happen to have to work with. But I do have my cutting mat, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. I've already talked to my husband about maybe making me something to hold on to this deco mesh, because as I roll it out to cut it, it always tends to roll back on me, especially when I'm getting to the very end of it. Okay, so the last time I used a deco mesh and I was using this width, I was cutting 6-inch pieces, and I was happy with the length of just using 6 inches of it, meaning 10 inches like that by just 6 inches. Okay, if you want to do 8 or 10, that's fine. You want to use a whole that much, 10 is right here actually, you can go ahead and do that, but I'm just going to use 6 inches. I'm very happy with that particular size. You may want more. I know that other crafters use a 10 by 10, or like if they're using a 6-inch wide mesh, then they do 6-inch also length, or if it's a 5, use the 5. But I'm going to go ahead and go with 6 inches. I'm happy with it, and I end up getting more bundles out of it. So I'm going to cut these two at the same time, and basically this is what I do, is I use that to actually hold it down for me. 6 inches, and I've actually been talking to my husband about making me something where I can feed this through, to dispense it through, so that it'll hold back my ribbon, and we both came up with a really good idea. I just don't know, when are we going to do this? I don't know. Okay, so now I've got 3 of each so far. Push them forward. If I get 15, awesome, because then I'll use 1 and 1. But I would like to get 30. Of course, 15 would be great, and I could just alternate, and then I'll have some mesh left over for another project and not use all of this on this one. That's 6. That's 9. Okay, I'm going to continue cutting, and I'm going to go ahead and stop at the 15 and see what I can do from there on, and I shall be back. All right, everyone, I'm back. I was able to cut 15 of each of these, actually 30 of each of the white and the gold. So I've cut 30 of those, and then I've gone ahead and I've cut 15 strips in 10-inch of this particular ribbon, and also of this particular ribbon. Now I cut 10 out of this 3-yard roll from a Dollar Tree, and then I've had to cut another 5 from a second roll. So that's what I've done from that. And out of this roll, of course, I still have plenty of ribbon still on my roll. And I did cut 15, so I cut 15 and 15, and then I cut another 15 of this particular mesh, deco mesh with the jute inside of it, so that I could have 30 pieces. So I decided that I would have 15 bundles and with one look, and another 15 bundles with another look. Okay, let me explain something real quick how I put them together. What I did is I grabbed a white piece and one of these with a gold, and you could do them any way you want. If you want to have them all the same color, then of course you'll have to cut 60 if you want 30 pieces, or if you want to do 36, then do 72. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this up. I'm taking this instead of the edges from the roll, and then I have been cutting them 6 inches, so that's where I'm rolling at the 6 inches. Just rolling it up, doing the same with this other piece, so that I have 2 curly pieces like that. I've taken these 2 ribbons, and like I said, I cut 10 inches out of each one, and then what I did with the ends is I cut them in little, what I call little ducktails, or they're called, let's see, I call them snake tongues, and some people call them ducktails. So all I have to do is cut in and then back out again, so you cut these little triangles out so that you have those little ends like that. Okay, let's get these rolled back up. So then I took this ribbon. It's really pretty. Look at that. I'm going to close up. Look at that. I love the way that it looks. I love the texture. Okay, just pinched at the center. The same with this one. Put them all together, and then a chenille stem to wrap them up and create a bundle just like that. So I've got 15 of those. And then the other bundle, I'm adding this. Now, I wanted to add this furry ribbon that I also got. It is so pretty, but this is only 6.5 feet, so I couldn't get 15 10-inch pieces. So I thought, well, let me try and see how it looks with 6 inches, because, you know, I want to put it on my hat some way. But I cut 16-inch pieces, and let me go ahead and show you. And I didn't like it, to be honest with you, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm glad I only cut one little piece off of there. Here's the white, the gold, and then this one here, instead of rolling the raw edges into each other or gathering them, I'm just putting it down and gathering it at the center, just like if it were a piece of ribbon. And I'm not bothering to cut the ends in any way. I'm just leaving them as is. Okay, so if I had to take the 6-inch piece of ribbon and gathered it the same and put it in there and tied it together, I just don't like the way that looks. So I decided that I'm not going to put this little piece in there. So I was just tying these together, and I make this separate bundle, and there's 15 of those. So I've got 30 bundles here waiting for me. I've still got enough mesh left over. I've got all kinds of stuff left over. So I'm going to save those pieces for when I do the little bundles that I'm going to put at the very top of the hat. Okay, so I still have this furry bit, and I want to use it. So I was going to try something else and see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, then I'm not going to do it. But I'll use it as like a brim, you know, like around the, you know, something around here on the bottom of the hat right here. So I thought I'd take this, because I believe it's long enough to go all the way around. I thought I'd take it and then just kind of tuck it into the pine here, that raw edge underneath, and make sure that I'm not covering the lights, and that I would just kind of like grab it like that, and then just kind of gather it at every maybe 8 inches or even 10 inches, and then just kind of looping it over, but making sure I don't cover the lights again. And then just taking 2 pieces of that and just kind of twisting, and then just maneuver it so that you have a nice cute little fuzzy bit. And I'm just going to go all the way around. See what I've done right there so far? Because what I want to do is I want to mimic, you know, a big Santa hat with a big furry brim around and then a fur ball on the top. So that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, so let's keep doing that. just lightly twisted. Make sure the garland pieces don't get smushed and that the lights are not being like covered so much. There we go. And just kind of folding it into itself here. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, let's go ahead and end it right back here. Okay, so I have this little bit still to meet up with this other one, but I'm going to cut off a little bit of it. I'm going to cut off that little bit here, and I'm going to grab this end and then just kind of tuck it in there somewhere and cover it. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to put some ornaments and things, and that'll probably cover that up. Okay? And the back is back here. So this is kind of on the side, so I'll make sure I cover that up with something. All right, that's done, and I'm just pushing the little garland back away from the hat here and making sure that I'm going to have space there to put my mesh. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with my mesh, and I'm going to do an alternation of them. So I'm going to be grabbing, alternation, that sounds kind of weird. I'm going to be alternating them is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so I'm going to grab the piece, the 2 chenille stems, and I'm going to be tying them. Now remember, there was 4 rings. The second one in, I put the garland on. So the third one in is where I'm going to be attaching these. So I'm going to put 5 in each one of these little sections. And then just alternate them and keep going with the alternating them as I go along. So there's one, and that one had the ribbon, and this one's going to have just all mesh. That's 2. Three. That one had ribbon, not one without ribbon. 4. And I found that 5 of these bundles is enough in this case, where before I was doing 6 in each one, so I was doing 36 bundles because I wanted it to be really full. But because of the garland, it fills it up really nicely, so I don't have to add. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, one more with this one with ribbon. That's 5. You may even get away with just 4. Actually, it looks pretty nice. Okay. So as you can see, we're covering up all this bottom part right here as well. So you're not even going to see this. I was thinking about putting the furry, if this furry bit didn't look nicer, I was thinking about putting it right here, kind of like a, you know, like a band around the hat. But I'm glad that it looks fine right there where I've decided to put it. So now I'm just making sure that all my ribbon is actually sticking up so that I can see it. Okay? And you're going to go around, and after you've applied everything, you're going to go around and just make sure that all your ribbons are up and they're spread out and they look pretty and poofed up in there. So, okay, I ended up with a ribbon, so I'm going to go and start with one that is just all mesh. And again, just do 5. And I'm going to continue filling all the way around my hat. This is what it looks like so far, and I think it looks really pretty. There you go, right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and continue filling it up, and I'll be back once all of that is done. All right, I've gone ahead and I filled it all up with all these mesh bundles that I made with a ribbon, and of course the garland, you can see it's still under there, and the little furry part there. So now I want to make something for the very tippy top of my hat, and I thought I'd do a fur ball at the top. So I got this one ornamental ball. It's plastic. I really would have liked something a little bit smaller, but considering how big my hat is, I think it'll be fine. So I have the trim, the little bit of ribbon that was left over, and I thought, well, maybe I'll cover it up with that, but it's not enough. And I know that somewhere in the depths of all my crafting, I have some fur trim, and I've gone ahead and dug it up. I had to do a lot of digging, by the way, and it was in a very simple drawer. Of course, it's never where you think it's going to be. Well, you know, actually, I did think it would be in the place that I thought, but that was the last place I looked. Okay, so if I didn't have this, I did find this feather boa trim. So I thought, well, maybe I'll use that instead if I couldn't find fur. So if you can't find fur to use for this particular craft, you can use a feather boa, a white feather boa, either a trim or a big feather boa, or you can just use individual feathers. That would make it look pretty. Of course, the feathers would also look pretty tucked on the bottom here of your hat. So I'm going to go ahead and use this little bit of fur. I have a little strip here that I had already cut from some other occasion. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut little pieces at a time because I really don't know how much I need. And I'm going to be putting it all the way around on my little ball here. I think I'll do a little bit at a time. Let me cut this little bit here. And I'll start at the top here. Okay, so I'm just going to use my glue gun. Let me put this apart a little bit. My little silicone pads here. I'm already getting fur all over the tip of my glue gun. Okay, that's all right. I'm going to put some glue right here. Just going downward. I think this is the piece that I cut. And just put it on there like that. And then I can take another piece like that, and then I'll just fill it in with another one in there as I go along. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so I need to cut some more strips. Let's see, how long do these need to be? Just kind of measure them. They don't have to be exact. And then I think it's half here, like so. And I have 4 pieces, so I think that's enough. Let me go ahead and, well, I don't need it right now. Let me go ahead and just continue putting another piece going down this way. And the fur's going downward. So I'm just going to make sure that the fur is also going down on this piece. Like that. And then another piece on, oops, I need some glue on here. Let's get a big stick of glue, long stick here. I'll do a nicer job than what I'm doing. I'm kind of like rushing through it. I think I cut them too long. Look at that. I have to trim them. This piece too, I have to trim it. I don't have to worry about this part actually. I can take that off. Okay. Let's put that other piece going down this way, and then I can fill in between. Just making sure the fur is going downward this way. Trim. And I'm just going to make sure these little ends are actually glued down. Yeah. Top of each other a little bit there. That's okay. All right, so now I need to fill in between. So I don't need that long a piece. About so long. And this one I'm going to cut it into, should I cut it? Yeah, I'm going to cut it into 3 bits. Like that. And then I'll just cut another one in a moment. And then I'm going to reach in again with the fur going downward. And you could cut them like at a little point on the ends, so they just kind of like tuck in right in there. Do the same on the top, so you don't have to it's getting all nice and furry. Okay, let's do that to this one as well. I'm just gonna kind of cut like a little pointy ends on both. Okay, this one's going down that way. Now this is the top. Now I want to fill in right in there, and I'm actually putting glue underneath the edges of those other pieces as well. Just kind of tuck it in there. Anything that doesn't fit, trim it off. And then you can just put glue and see that all those ends in. I'm going to actually trim this one as well. Put some glue in there, tuck that in, move the, that's my cat. He is probably hungry. Poor thing. I'm getting so much fur on my, that the, it's not even sticking. There we go. Get that in there and trim off that bit. Okay, I've got one more spot here. This one's kind of wide, so I don't think those little pieces are going to fit in there. That's okay. This one I'm going to cut it in half, actually. Okay, I've got one more of this smaller kind of... Hold on, baby. He's mommy, feed me. Yeah, see? He knows what I'm saying. Okay. I am going to go feed my little kitty cat, and I shall be back. I think by then that'll give my glue gun a chance to catch up with me, because I am demanding too much of it. Okay, I got one more spot to do. I'm going to go ahead and cover that up, and then I'll cover the very tippy top, and I'll have a nice big furry ball that I can use at the top of my hat. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut more of my deco mesh so I can make like maybe 3 more little curlies to put at the very top, which are going to kind of come out from the bottom of the hat at the bottom of the ball on top of the hat. So it's very decorative up at the top as well. Okay, and we shall be back and we'll finish decorating our hat. Okay, so I finished up pretty much patching up my whole ball with the trim of fur, and then I just kind of moved it around and put them closest, and I put glue as close as I could to the edges also, so that I could kind of bring them together. And you kind of can tell if you look at it close up, you know, where the edges are, but it's not that bad. It's actually pretty cool looking. It's fluffy looking. And then I've gone ahead and I made 4 more bundles of mesh. So I've got 2 with just all mesh, and then I've got 2 with the same ribbon combinations that I put on the ones in the bottom. And I'm going to put this all up here at the very top. Okay, so I've got my little snowflakes, and I've still got some flowers and some ornament balls that I want to put on my arrangement. So I've got them here ready. I'm going to go ahead and get some more of this ribbon also, because I want to put some kind of hanging off of my hat at the very top, and I want to curl it as I do. So I'm just going to measure how much I need, more or less, and then just trim there. I think something fell. No, maybe not. Okay. So without getting any glue on this part here, because I could actually maybe plug in some more lights if I wanted to put something here. If not, I can just tuck it back in and hide it, which is basically what I'm doing with this ribbon here. And all these little points at the top, they're all going to get hidden away, so you're not going to see any of that. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue on the ribbon, or you could put a little chenille stem and glue that down. And I'm just gluing it to the ribbon part right here. I'm not gluing it anywhere near the green wire from the lights. And then this can just be kind of bent as it comes down. I'm going to go ahead and cut the little tails. This is not something that you have to put on. You don't have to at all, you know, do these tails coming down. That's up to you. Okay, I was just making sure that I did put it with the right side up. Okay, so that's on there. I'll get that out of the way. Okay, so now I've got my cord. This is my cord back here. This is where I want to plug it in. So this is technically the back of my arrangement. It could be on a table because I'm decorating it all the way around. So it can be a centerpiece, and you could just maybe hide the cord with some fabric draped over it, or some more, you know, items around it. Or if you're going to put any platters of food, then just kind of cover that up. Okay, I'm going to take one of these flowers. Let me get my wire cutters. Here they are. I decided to put a chair there because I was sitting down as I was doing this. I'm going to cut it at the longest end, or the longest point, to make a nice long stem. But now I'm going to cut the flower at a very short part. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut down all the way till I get to that little part where the next, right above the leaf, cut under that, right above the next leaf, and right above the next leaf. So now I've got these little stems with leaves on them, and of course I've got my flower. Now I like to kind of put everything off to the side, so I'm going to choose this side to put my flower. Actually, I don't even remember where my little ends were. They were kind of weird looking. Or actually it was right here. You can't even see it because it's covered up by all this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to put a flower right in here. I think that's pretty right there. I have to look at the camera to see how it looks because from where I'm at it looks fine, but I need to see that it does look nice from the camera angle. Okay, so now I'm just going to add some glue to these bits here and then tuck them in. And what I'm doing is I'm gluing it against this ribbon along here. If you need to stick some on the sides, if you want to put some down here, you can glue them into the garland that's down here. I'm actually going to trim this little stick a little shorter because I feel like it's too much. Gluing it to the ribbon actually. Here we go. Let me look at it from the front here. I feel like it needs another one right in here. Oops, I'm going to hide it in the mesh. There we go. This sleeve kind of wants to bend, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back, stick it to the ribbon so that it stays up. So this is what we have so far right here on the side, if you can see that flower. I'm going to put another one on this side because I feel like I have enough flowers where I can do that. This one doesn't have any greenery, it all fell off. Well, that's okay because we can cut off another flower and just take some greenery from that one. Okay. I'm going to put this one on the other side right here. And these are the colors that I'm going to use for my whole Christmas. Okay. So there will be some red. There we go, that's where I put the other flower. Now I have these little balls and I have these other little flowers, and I think these other little flowers are so pretty, and I want to tuck some here and there. So again, I'm going to cut some, and I'm going to cut them at their longest point, and then I can always just trim them, okay? Cut those, that one, and I think that one. We'll see if we need more. This one came off the stem somewhere. Okay, let me trim them some more, and just tuck them in around the leaves that you already have there. Get one over here. Right in front of these leaves here. And then just bend the flower stem just a little bit. When you have your stems, just bend it a little bit like that so that you see the flower. Okay, a little bit more. I'm going to tuck this one in right in here. Make sure I'm not covering any of that pretty ribbon. Just coming in between those two. See how that looks? Okay. Now for this ribbon, so that it's not flopping around, I'm going to put dots of glue. Dot of glue right there. Just so it's not flopping around on me. Keep it in its place. Okay, so now I'm going to take the other flowers and do the same. Put them on the other side. Since I have two flowers coming out the front of this one, I'm going to have two flowers coming out the back of this, and the only reason that I'm doing that is if it decides to be, not it decides, but if I decide for it to be a centerpiece, I'll have flowers all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and discard these little bits. Where's my cord? There it is. Okay, this is still my front. Okay, now I'm going to take these ornament balls. They have the little strings that it comes with to tie onto them so you can hang them on a tree. But I'm just going to hot glue them onto my arrangement, and I don't have to use all of them. I'm going to put some glue all over the little knob there where it hangs from. open up some of your chenille, and I'm going to put it on the one that doesn't have any ribbon so that I don't cover up the ribbon. Just going to tuck them in here and there. Okay, so there we go. I don't know if you can see the little ornament balls in there, but up close you certainly can, and they look really pretty. So the rest of them I can save them for another project. I don't have to use everything that I've bought. Okay, now I have these, these snowflakes, and I have 6 of them. I'm going to wait to the very last. So I'm going to go ahead and do the top part. I've got these 4 pieces of chenille, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little ends here, and I'm just going to twist them. Well, let's see. I could actually tie a couple of these onto these little metal bits that are sticking out at the top. But I actually want them glued down. I don't want them moving. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue in there. That one. I'm just going to roll the chenille into itself. So I have a base where I can put glue and then glue that into the ribbon. It's already there, just push it in. Okay, so now I'm going to do the other 2 pieces opposite. One on this side, one on this side, so now I'm going to put one on that and then one on this side back here. I think mine looks fantastic. Okay, so now I want to put my this big for, well, you know what, I'm going to wait because I don't want it to, well, I kind of want to be I want it to be the topper, if you will. Okay, these little snowflakes, you have to be really careful with them because they do break easily. They have these little strings on them, so you can hang them on the tree. I'm just removing the little strings, and I'm just putting a little bit of glue right in the middle. Both sides look the same, so what I do is I just kind of like look at it and see which one has still more glitter than the other, you know, one side. And I'm just going to stick them randomly here and there. Let's see. This is the front of my arrangement. I'm going to need more glue. There we go. Put this one up here. Glue it right in there. I'm going to do the same thing in the back. I'm going to take all these little strings off because I think I'm going to use all of these. And there we go. As you can see the snowflakes there. Just turn this around. This is the back. You can see the snowflakes there. Okay. Now we can go ahead and put our ball. I did have these other, I had the cotton here, and I had some berries. I did want to add some elements of this cotton on there. Okay, let me just add maybe a couple of them. Let's cut that one. And then I have that little berry stem. I think that's going to be a little too much. I say that after I'm putting all this stuff on there. Okay. It all depends on how much you want to put on your arrangement. Some people might think it looks elegant with a lot of stuff. I like things with a lot of things. Sometimes I like it simple. Some people think it just looks straight up gaudy. So it just depends on what you feel. Glue that on there, right behind this flower. Put it between those 2 ribbons. See, that'll stick there. That's nice, actually. That doesn't look bad at all. Do one on the other side, but I think this one, I'll have it come out from under the, or between the flower on one of the petals. So I have that one coming out in the bottom. This one's behind the other flower. Okay. To put berries or not? Should I put berries or not? My idea was with these was that I was going to take, let me take, well actually I can just pull it off like that. Was it actually was going to break like little bits like that. Or like that. Sometimes it decides for you. Just cut little pieces, and there's some of them are gonna kind of peel off the red, but it kind of looks almost like snow on there. So just put a little bit of glue on it, and just stick them here and there for a little bit of a berry effect. I don't really know if that actually looks good or not. I haven't decided yet. Let me put them on there, kind of peeking out from the flowers. Looks kind of cute because I'm trying to bring some of these red polka dots down to the bottom. I'm going to put this big old bundle. This is a big flower on this side. Right in there, right into the mesh. Okay, I think that's good enough. I'm going to save these little bits, throw them into my box, my tub, whatever that is. Okay, there we go. That's that. Now let's go ahead and put our little furry ball on the top, and I want to put lots of glue all over it. I went ahead and I glued this little piece here on there so that I could put lots of glue on it, because I thought, well, you know, there's too much fur there. The glue is not really getting onto the item because the fur was kind of getting in the way, even though I didn't put any fur there. Now we gotta glue it onto something. So I'm trying to grab on mesh on both sides. That looks pretty cool. I should have actually looked at it like really closely and see, well, is there some, like, does it have a better side? There we go. That one little edge there wasn't glued down. Okay, well, there it is. I have finished my hat. I'm going to go ahead and clean up my counter, let you see it a little bit better, and turn on the lights and see how that looks. So I'll be right back. All right, everyone, here is my arrangement all completed, and I've lit it up, and I've gone ahead and I used the fairy lights that I had, which are the little LED battery operated lights, and I just kind of put them across here at the front to give it a little more lighted effect at the top. I can see the lights coming down at the bottom, and then I can see the lights that are inside, and I think it gives it a really pretty effect. It is really pretty, and I'm overwhelmed by it. I hope that you will give me a big old thumbs up, because I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. Leave a nice comment down below. Thank you for all the lovely comments everyone has left, and thank you for all the ideas and the little tips that you have also been leaving in the comments. I really enjoy them. You all have really great ideas, and I'm probably going to use some of them. So what do you think? Let me know. Do you want me to make a Christmas tree now with a tomato cage, because I do have one more and I can still go ahead and do that. Let me know if you're interested in that, and we'll be seeing that soon if you would like to see it. And subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Thank you to everyone. I am happy to say I have actually reached 15,000 viewers, and I was really surprised a couple of days ago when I checked my analytics and then I saw that I had 15,000, and I was really surprised by that. Actually, it might have been yesterday early in the day. I don't recall exactly when it happened. It was a little bit over that, but I am very overwhelmed by that. I know it doesn't compare to what a lot of other YouTubers have as far as subscribers, but for me that is a great big deal. I am overwhelmed by it. I don't even know. I don't have any words for it. But thank you all very, very much. Welcome to everybody new. I hope that you're enjoying the videos. Thank you very much. Please, please hit that like button. It is very important. It would help me a lot. And make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.